Hey guys, it's Doc from the Gold Hog, and today I'm going to be showing you the new setup on the final production model of this Monster Hog. And you'll have to excuse me because I'm going to be running two cameras because a couple weeks ago I had a SIM card die, and so I want to have two cameras. Plus, I want to take you close in and I want to show you some of the features that I'm talking about on this unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the thought process that I went through when I designed this unit. Again, I blended my mining experience with my prospecting experience and said, how do I create the ultimate machine for me that I really feel like I never have to upgrade from. So I'll take you over and walk you through it a little bit, but you can see that the unit itself is overall is about 108 inches because each of these trays are 36. This is the final production unit, and I'm going to walk you through a couple of things on it. Number one of the things that had to be portable. So when it has to be portable, this all stacks inside of each other. So this tray here will stack inside this tray, stack inside and inside. So it compacts very neatly. The overall weight without the mats and legs is probably about 50 pounds of the actual raw unit. So it's actually very light. So you can put this unit with your hoses and with your pump. You can put all that inside the trunk of a passenger car, and that was my goal, make it really portable, but a big high capacity unit. So this is one of the hoses that we're going to include with this unit, and that keeps your lay flat hose from kinking up. That's always a big problem. We want 100% feed from our hose all the way up to the unit. We have a quick release here. It goes into a simple plumbing unit, and then it goes into what I call the devastation chamber. So I'm going to walk around this side. So here's our three-prong plumbing system, and it has spray nozzles that absolutely, as you put material in here, you'll see it's going to absolutely destroy it. And that's what I wanted. As fast as you could dump material, I wanted it to turn into a real well-washed slurry. The rocks are in here being agitated. They come out of here fairly clean, not perfectly, but they're going to come out fairly clean, and they're going to come across the grizzly and exit out. Now let's talk about this grizzly, and let's talk about this header box real quick. I wanted a zero-touch header box system. So when I say a zero-touch header box system, I don't want to ever put my hand in here. I don't want to ever put a shovel in here. That's one of the biggest complaints I've always had with the majority of Highbankers, is I want speed. I want to be able to dump as much material in here and never touch it with my hand. And that was the hard part for me to really figure out. How do I create that real well-washed slurry, a real good mix agitation, but have it all come out and never touch it? These things, you'll notice they kind of vibrate, and that helps any rocks that get stuck in between there that you normally see, they fall out. This is the grizzly bar system here is actually aluminum. It's, one of the first ones I know of that's made out of aluminum. It cuts the weight down in half. It attaches up underneath. We attach the system up underneath here, and you can move this grizzly bar back and forth. The other thing is, if you ever wanted to put a separate screen on here, you could put a separate screen on. And let's say you want to classify down to 1/4 of an inch. Right now these are set a 1/2 inch. So you can put a separate screen over this, or you can replace the grizzly bars, either way. All this goes in here, it falls down, large rocks exit here. It comes into our matting system, and you're going to see that we have hog moss. We have a piece of hog moss up here, and under the hog moss is UR mat. Then it's going to come down, and the configuration is going to change a little bit. But basically, it's razorback and scrubber all the way down to the new river hog. It's going to go over the river hog. It's going to go over razorback and scrubber and in UR. So that means you've got 108 inches of processing, and the reason why you want that is because your high sediment rates. You want to be able to have 8 tons an hour, and when you run 8 tons an hour, you have a real good chance for what we call flat boarding, which is the material still in there being processed and other material is passing by. So that's why you have to have that long sluice. If you're going to go up, basically 8 tons an hour is about a 5-gallon bucket every 10 seconds. That's fast. So that's why we have the system. Real neat custom-made aluminum legs. These have the step out and they have the square feet welded on the bottom. So we have the aluminum legs. This is our multi-pivot bracket. We actually double weld these to make sure that they're strong now. but there's a flat foot under here on the step out. These come step out with a welded flat foot on here, all aluminum. The grizzly's all aluminum. The trays are all aluminum. You have this mat which is custom made, and really the only way we could do this and make this compact is to use our matting system, because the matting system starts off, let's say 15 3/4 inches here, and then it comes out to 16, and then it comes out to 16 1/4. So you have your slurry sort of widening out and widening out, and the mat is actually sculpted for that. So it's quite interesting. We're actually keeping this wood piece in here. We were going to put a safety brace in there for metal, but we actually like the wood because it's softer on the unit. You don't have metal against metal. You'll also notice on your header tray here, we have the main bracket that holds it, and then we reverse one up and we have a safety bracket. This is going to get real heavy, so we put double bracket system on here. Real heavy gauge aluminum. This is close to 10 gauge aluminum right here. Again, this is not just a cut and bend unit. We actually have to go in here, and this is actually plasma cut because we step down the back here to raise it up slightly. So this box actually has some plasma cutting into it. It's not just a cut and bend unit. This piece is actually cut out, this main section. There's a ton of labor in this. Like I said, just to make this mat, one mat will take us about 5 hours to make, because we have to put it together perfectly. We have to sculpt it, and it's got to work just perfectly on it. But again, this whole thing will fit into, it'll fit into the trunk of a car. We've got it so that we put it in 2 boxes that'll ship post office, so we can ship it anywhere. The other thing is, if you're going to a remote location, hey, you can ship it ahead. If you're going to Alaska, you can ship it ahead, USPS, the post office, and it'll be there waiting for you. So that's the unit mainly. I'm going to go over some more of the features and benefits of it with you later. But again, this is a unit I designed for myself. I said, I don't care what I do, I'm going to build that unit that you never have to upgrade on. The next thing I want to talk to you real quick about is the feed rates on this thing. A lot of people think, well, it's too big of a unit. If you have 2 people out here, you can use this unit. 2 people to set it up is comfortable. It'll take you about, depending on how you have it set, 20 to 30 minutes to set it up. And then one person can sit here and just shovel into it, just a steady shovel. The other way to feed it is have 2 people shovel, and I'll show you some of that. One person here, and 2 people shoveling. The next way is, if you have a big crew, is to have actually buckets. So everyone brings buckets, and they're constantly dumping buckets into here. We have one or 2 commercial ops that are actually going to feed this mechanically. They're going to have a unit come into this top box, and they're going to feed it with a front loader. And they're going to run probably 8 to 10 tons an hour with the unit. So while it is a big unit, it's very powerful, process a lot of material. You don't have to run at that rate. If you just want to run, 50 or 100 buckets an hour, this is the unit that'll do it without a problem. We set it up at about a 9.5 pitch. You do want to try and set this up on an incline. So you'll notice that I'm inclining it down to the pool. So I'm looking for that incline. And when I set it up on an incline, that keeps this header box system lower, so it's easier to feed this header box. But basically a 9.5 degree here. You can adjust this box to make sure your rocks are coming out nice and clean, and we're going to show you how to run it. And all we do is we just have this is basically a dredge hose or water hose, so that there's no kinks. It goes to the lay flat. The lay flat goes to a cheap pump. And of course I wanted a cheap pump. That's about a $250 pump system. Comes with all the accessories, and that's all you need. So we're getting ready to fire this thing up, and then I'm also going to show you we're setting up over here. We're setting one of the units up as a 4-inch dredge. It can also be converted into a 4-inch dredge unit. We'll show you that too. Hey guys, so I'm going to walk you over. We finally got this thing up and running, so I'm going to walk you over and show you. Now this is a standard feed rate. We'll have 2 or 3 guys running buckets, and the guy at the header box just shovels constantly. Now a lot of times we'll have 2 people shoveling constantly, and you can do that, or you can dump buckets right in and shake the buckets in. So right now I'm going to show you a 1-person feed system, and you'll see on this chamber. Hold up. You'll see on this chamber that it stays dirty, and you can see all these rocks in here. you can see all the rocks. Now I brought with me a little kicker box. Now this kicker box will kick the bigger rocks off to the side so I don't have to clean the back of the machine so much. But you can see that 95% of the water is going into the system now. It's all running down, going over all the mats. So go ahead and feed it. The big rocks are coming off that end. So he's going to go ahead and feed it in there. You can see all the large rocks. Now we're not screening this stuff at all. This is 100% unscreened material. So you can see the size rocks we got coming out of here. And what you'll see is you'll see that water turn completely dirty. The velocity of the water will actually change a little bit. You'll see everything wash through. You'll see rocks, 1/2 inch, 1 inch rocks coming through. So you can see where that river hog is, and you can see the different maps. Okay, now hold up. David, hold up. Now what I want you to see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there are little white lines where those riffles are, the scrubber and the razorback. That's a little bit of light material, and that's what I like to see. I know I'm holding a little bit of lights, but man, they're just dancing like crazy, so I know I have good exchange. Same thing here. I've got lights and material moving behind these riffles, and I've got my UR mat is almost bare. There's a little bit of material in it. That's what I want to see. So go ahead. So he can just sit here and he can shovel this material. So he can just sit here and he can shovel this material all day long. He just goes, dumps it in, dumps it in, dumps it in. Again, this is our destruction chamber, and the destruction chamber just absolutely destroys this material. But the nice thing about it, it's getting destroyed in here, coming down, and it still has to go in here and turn and mix up. So even though it's all being destroyed in here, it's got to come in here and it's got to turn and it mixes again. You'll see these rocks in here. That was a big square piece of bedrock, and it'll sit there for a minute, but those vibrating bars will shake it down eventually. It's almost like a little shaker box, and there's a big old rock, and you can see what happens. Those big rocks clear out those bars nice. They're constantly vibrating. Alright, so let's talk about cleanup real quick. It's simple. 10-15 minutes if you want to rush through it. But all they're doing is they're unbolting. There's a bar across here that they're unbolting. Let me see if I can see it. And there's a bar right under here that holds the moss and the mat down. You unscrew that, take the bar out, you slide the whole mat down. You're going to put a tub down below here, roll the mat, put it into the tub, wash it, reverse roll it, wash it, reverse roll it. Pretty simple. Like I said, if you really want to rush your cleanup, you can be up and running again in about 10-15 minutes, real quick. So anyways, I'm just going to pan some of this down. We finished that run. Probably about, I don't know, maybe we ran 2 tons of material, something like that. Let's see what kind of color. But this is one thing I want to show you, if you haven't seen it already. This is all pyrite, iron pyrite. We're finding a ton of that material in here. There's a ruby or sapphire right there. There's a nice piece of gold right there. Another nice little nug. Little nugget right there. Ooh, I thought I saw that coming down. Look at those pieces right there. So I'm going to pan this out and show you those again in a second here. Alright, so I'm trying to get over here in the shade, but actually the dirt was better than dredging today because we can't get down deep. There's a nice little nugget there. There's a bunch of 100s and 50s and tons of fine gold in here. But look at that, that's a nice piece right there. Where's the other one? Look at that one right there. That's a nice piece of gold. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, I mean, look at all the pyrite. But what I'm going to do is, where we're dredging over here, it's all of this flood and clay stuff, and we're not finding much gold in there. So I'm done. We're going to stop that dredging because we can't really move it anywhere else right now because of what we got going on, all this stuff. So we're going to run dirt. So now we're going to run dirt by the bucketful. We're seeing good gold in this dirt, so I'm going to run as much as I can today, and we'll see what happens. Here's a good example of the rocks we're putting through. There's a big old chunk of bedrock, 8 inches long, going right through it. We're not classifying at all. Holy cow, look at that. Chris found an emerald cluster in there, it's just crazy. Chris is over here gathering all the gems up. He gets to take those home. It's nice. Moving the material here. It's just taking 5 to 10 seconds for a bucket just to feed it in. I got 3 bucket diggers and they can't keep up with it. Hey guys, we're breaking down everything, but we ran 100 buckets, and we did it. It was about an hour process because we really didn't have enough constant feed. So we probably could have done it in about 30 minutes. But I'm going to show you. I got about half the cons here, and I just did a quick test pan on it. Let me get it over here in the shade, and I'm going to show you some of the gems that Chris picked out too. But this is, like I said, this is about half the cons. And this is just a test pan here. But that's pretty good looking gold there. But you can see, I don't know if you can see, there's a bunch of little tiny gold in here too. But there's some nice gold up in here. Now some of this over here is pyrite. You can see all that iron pyrite in here. And there's a bunch of gold back over in here still. I just did sort of a tap down. But you can see, I mean, there's a nice piece. There's a bunch of nice pieces in here. But along with that stuff, you can see the little 50s and 100s. You can see all that stuff. So, good run. And again, a lot of people come down here or wherever they go, you know, especially in the southeast, and they'll run a few buckets, and they're like, I only found a couple specks of gold. Well, so did we, but we ran 100 buckets. So I don't know, we may have pulled a gram or two of gold out of here. That's probably close to 100 buckets is probably close to 2.5 tons, something like that. Let's go over here. I'm going to show you some of these that Chris found. These are some of the gems. But we really weren't looking for gems today. Chris actually sat down at the end. You can see some of the gems in here. I mean, that's a beautiful emerald right there. A little teeny emerald, but it's real clear. All kinds of rubies. I mean, look at that. I mean, those are emeralds in there actually inside that. Adventuring. That's a huge sapphire ruby rock there. I don't know if there's anything in it, but there's a bunch of stuff in here. That's a pretty piece. That yellow quartz. Bunch of pretty stuff. Good looking stuff today. But Chris came down to help today too, along with, we got 4 other people down here, but that was a lot of dirt. I mean, that was a lot of dirt. We ran that last thing. I mean, we were running as hard as we could just about, and we were standing there waiting at the machine, waiting for buckets, and it was like 100 buckets. Like I said, about 50 minutes maybe, but we couldn't keep the supply chain going fast enough. So I was real happy with that. But good gold for that pile. For that dirt, that's good gold. It really is. That's some of the better gold I've seen in that pile come out of it. All right, let's go pack her up now.